Hello friends and students of golf, and welcome to the greatest show on turf here on the Golf Channel. My name is Nick Paez. I'm a PGA member, Director of Instruction at Golf Tech Cleveland, and today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of club fitting. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to get to, so we got to move quickly, and here we go. The TEC in Golf Tech stands for having the proper technique, properly fit equipment, both physical and mental conditioning. Without the properly fit equipment, I don't want to work on technique. So there are two schools of thought here. There's what's called dynamic fitting and also fitting through instruction. So those of you that have been fit this way, I want to apologize to my students that I've done this to. We've got lie tape, face tape. You hit off the lie board, it makes the mark. Comes off the toe. From there, I just crank up the lie to try to get it to hit right in the middle. Hand someone a set of clubs, say, here you are, you're fit. The issue we have there is that now I'm handing a set of clubs to a student of mine that is forcing him to make that swing fall. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is fit through instruction. I want to get the correct length, the correct lie that allows the student to make a good, solid golf swing. All right, the first topic we're going to talk to you about today in fitting through instruction is getting the correct grip size. So what I have here is just a standard ruler, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from my wrist crease to the end of my largest finger, which is my middle finger, and you're going to see here that I'm at about 7.5 inches. Then I'm going to take that same ruler and I'm going to go and measure the longest finger I have. I'm just under 3.5 inches. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and grab my grip chart. The grip chart then tells me that my grip is going to be plus 1/32 over standard. And that's going to be 3 wraps over the standard grip underneath there. And what that does is it allows me to then secure the grip properly in my hands. A lot of times I'll see my students out there and I'm struggling with the grip with them. I'll see the joint. If you have this type of grip with the joint popping up, chances are that the grip's too small, the fingers are running into your thumb, and you can't get that whole thumb on the shaft, and that'll be important to allow you to secure the club at the top of the backswing. All right, so here we're going to talk about length of the club. Really important, and a big misconception that if you're a taller player, you need longer clubs, and that's just not the case. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out how to get fit properly for length, and that is getting your wrist to floor measurement. Simply grab a ruler, place it on your side, make sure your shoulders are nice and level. We don't want to be tilted in one way or the other, and from there you can grab the ruler. My wrist to floor measurement is going to be 35 inches. And as I grab my length chart, that's going to start me at about 37.5 inches. All right. Now, as you're working with your PGA professional, he's going to know the calculations because all clubs have different standards. It gets complicated out there, and that's why you got to get fit through instruction with the PGA Pro. Now, when you get the proper length, all right, you're going to be able to get into a good setup, all right, and you're going to allow you to swing the club around your body properly. If the club's too long, the posture gets up too tall, and it becomes difficult for you to hit the ground. We see a lot of top shots, a lot of thin shots, and vice versa for players that have clubs that are too long. They can make a swing compensation, and from this real tall position, they'll start dipping their shoulder, kind of start looking like Charles Barkley out there, and I know you don't want to look like Charles Barkley. So next up, lie angle. All right, now we're talking about lie angle, and quite simply, the lie angle is the measurement between the shaft and the ground. And the lie angle affects the ball flight a great deal. You're gonna see I've got my monster wedge here, and I've got 3 different shafts coming out. So this one is a more upright lie angle, this one's a flatter lie angle. And you're gonna see, and I'm gonna show you how that changes where the club face points. Based on your height and your wrist to floor measurement, your PGA professional is gonna be able to get you into the correct lie angle. When you have the correct lie angle and you set the club face up square to the ball, you're gonna see that the club face can point straight down the target line. If the club is too upright, all right, the toe of the club is going to come up off the ground, and you're going to see the club face points dramatically to the left. For you players that have been dynamically fit and are playing with clubs that are too upright, you're playing golf with the ball above your feet for the entire round. It's a very difficult game, and this is only making it more challenging. Conversely, if you're playing with clubs that are too flat, the heel comes off the ground, the club face points to the right. This lie angle and loft effect is increased with the shorter clubs. So pitching wedges, if you have the wrong lie angle, can point as much as 30 yards to the left. And that ball actually went about 50 yards to the left, and you're going to see my divot is actually straight down the target line. So important to get the correct lie angle. You don't want to play with compensation. It's unnecessary. Get fit through instruction. All right, so we're down on the home stretch here, and we're talking about shaft selection. There are many different options. You're really going to need to get in with your PGA professional to determine what is the appropriate shaft for you. I've got a shaft optimizer here, and some of the things, generally speaking, that are going to determine your shaft is your club head speed and your tempo. All right, the shaft optimizer actually measures a few other things. What you want to do is use a launch monitor to get your ball speed, your launch angle, and more importantly, your backspin rate. All right, the backspin rate needs to be within a specific range. That specific range is going to give you maximum distance with the optimum trajectory. All right, so remember, get to your PGA professional, determine whether you want graphite, steel, heavy, or lightweight. Generally speaking, the heavier the shaft, the less spin on the ball. All right, we're here at the final stage. That's set makeup, and there's a couple things we want to talk about here. Number one, where do we want to cut off our long iron and put in a hybrid? We only have 14 clubs in our bag, so my rule of thumb for my students is what iron can you hit and stop to a front pin? If that happens to be a 6 iron, guess what? Your next club is going to be a 5 hybrid. And you're going to notice the difference between these two. Right, the hybrid's a lot wider. All right, that sole makes that club a lot more forgiving. It'll send the ball up higher and farther, and it will allow you to get that ball to stop on the green. All right, the second part is down at the wedges. So we're going to see I have 4 wedges here. Generally, I'm going to want 4, maximum 5 degrees of loft between each club. So my pitching wedge here is 46 degrees. My gap wedge is 50 degrees. I have a sand wedge there that's 54 degrees. And I have a 60-degree wedge that's bent down to 59. I've got all my yardages covered here. So all you players out there that can hit your pitching wedge certain distance and your sand wedge, and there's a large gap between where your sand wedge goes, chances are you don't have the right set makeup. Thank you for joining me today on the Golf Channel. I hope you get fit through instruction. Remember to play great, and here's to next time. So long from Cleveland, Ohio, home of LeBron. Oh, that's right. He left. This drill is called the double rod drill, and this drill is designed for all you players that struggle with that over-the-top outside-in move. The players that I'm talking about have a hard time separating upper and lower body, so they turn their shoulders and hips at the same time. That shoulder movement brings the club over the swing plane and outside in down at their swing path. So take a couple dowels, get in front of a mirror, get into a good setup, make a good pivot. You're trying to turn your shoulders more than your hips. And from here, it's a coordination drill. You're learning to separate the lower body from the upper body. You're moving that hip and starting the downswing with that lower body movement. What that does is then allows you to bring your right shoulder down, tilt correctly, swing from the inside into a tall finish. Try this at home. You'll eliminate that over-the-top move.